Let me know when it's live.
It's live now.
Okay, welcome everyone to today's hearing. Before I introduce our side, can I ask all the attendees from the applicant and the objector side to come online and introduce yourself, please? Applicant,
yes. Right. Okay. My name is Olden, solicitor for the applicant from Fortis Rose Solicitors. Applicant's name is Nusrettin Caner, as can be seen on the screen. He's on my screen. He's on the top left.
Okay. Thank you. We've got objector as well.
Okay, my name is Cohen Lau. I'm one of the leaseholders who live on 68 Cooper's Court, which is the property directly above the restaurants, the applicant. I'm also one of the directors of Cooper's Court Freehold, one out of 4. So yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if you can all keep your mics off. My name is Councillor Munir Ahmed, and I shall be chairing today's meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Sheetal Manro and Councillor Seema Kumar, are sitting with me to comprise this panel. Misha Jalil, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, will be minuting the meeting. The other member is present is also Sandra Felix, I believe. Alison Luff is the legal advisor to subcommittee, and Anjali Garcha, the licensing processing team leader, will be introducing the report. So in accordance with the procedures, I shall be inviting the licensing officer to introduce the report and provide any clarification on the factual issues. Then I'll be inviting the applicant to present the application, answer any questions, and call any witnesses. And then I will invite the objector to make their presentations and call any witnesses and answer any questions. At the conclusion of the hearing, the panel will be retiring with the legal advisor and the Democratic Services Officer to consider the decision. And the decision will be given at the end of the meeting and confirmed in writing within 5 working days. If the panel cannot reach the decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. So before I start, I'm just going to take the stock. I've got the agenda package with all the documents. I also received a plan for the ground floor and basement, and an email was also received from the solicitor. Has everyone got this? If I don't hear, that means everyone has got these documents. So, Anjali, can you start and introduce the report, please?
Yes, sure. Mr. Nusrettin Caner has applied for a new premises license for Kayra Mediterranean Restaurant, which is located 1872189 High Street, Acton, W3 9DJ. And the application proposed the following: late night refreshment indoors, Monday to Saturday, 2300 hours to midnight. Supply of alcohol on the premises, Monday to Saturday, 8 AM to midnight, and Sunday, 9 AM to 2300 hours. And the hours open to the public, Monday to Saturday, 8 AM to midnight, and Sunday, 9 AM to 2300 hours. The application attracted a representation from an interested party which remains unresolved. The Metropolitan Police did not make a representation. However, following negotiations with the applicant, they agreed hours and conditions, and they are in your pack before you today. Just a bit of history on the premises. Up until about 30 minutes ago, there was an existing premises license for this address in the name of Woody Grill, and there were also outstanding annual fees of over 2 years, which had not been paid. Several attempts were made by ourselves and corporate collections teams to contact the existing premises license holder with no success. However, he made contact about 30 minutes ago, and the outstanding debt on the annual fees has all been paid, and he has also officially surrendered the license. I do have details of the premises license, which was in place until about 30 minutes ago. If the panel want details of that, I can give that. Would you like me to give the hours that were on the...
Colleagues, do you need that
Yes,
details,
I
or there's
think
no need?
Chair, it would be helpful if we knew what the previous hours were compared to what
Yes.
you agreed hours.
Yes, Anjali, go ahead.
All right.
I think it would be helpful to know.
Okay, yeah. So up until about 30 minutes ago, there was an existing premises license for this premises for opening hours Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. till 1 a.m., Sunday noon till midnight, and there was a late night refreshment from Sunday to Thursday, 2300 to midnight, and Friday to Saturday, 2300 to 1 a.m. There were no other licensable activities on that license.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Anjali. Now, the applicant, can you come online and present your case, please?
Okay, may I ask Nusret then if you could unmute if you want to say something, because I can see on the screen that you are on mute at the moment. But when you want to speak, please do unmute. Yes, thank you for the introduction to the application. I don't intend to repeat the application itself. It's been summarized to the extent that we have one person here today opposing the application. The police have agreed policy and terms, well, conditions with my clients previously. Those conditions are contained in your report, and it starts from page 45 to page 48 of the subcommittee bundle. I will first ask if everyone has read those conditions as agreed by the police, so we can then move on to the real issue here, which will be discussed between Miss or Mrs. Sorry, Mrs. Cohen Lau.
Yeah, Miss Lau. They've got me down as Mr. in the paper.
Oh, well, yes, I mean, that's one thing that I did correct as soon as you appeared on the screen. I mean, it was noted as Mr., but
yeah, and
I've corrected it.
Yeah, that applicant as well. He called me as well, which I'll go on later about that. We have spoke on the phone. Yeah.
Okay, all right. If everyone has read the police agreed conditions, I can then move on. But if you haven't, I'm happy to go through those conditions in detail.
Yes, we have read. We move on, please.
Very well. And also, thank you also to the licensing officer for bringing that useful information, which will help today's considerations. I can see, I want to start from there first. Now, this was the previous premises license holder. Their licensable activities have already been outlined by the licensing officer. Their hours were until 1 a.m. in the morning on certain days, Monday to Saturday, and Sunday till midnight. The distinction to be drawn between that license and this licensing application today is we come to the council with reduced hours. Because we've all read the police agreed conditions, I would just like to, in any event, reiterate what's been agreed in terms of hours. Monday to Saturday has been agreed at 10 a.m. till 23:30. Sunday, this is in respect of supply of alcohol. Sunday, 11 a.m. till 22:30. Late night refreshment is Monday to Saturday from 2300 till midnight. And opening hours of the business is Monday to Saturday up to midnight, and Sunday the business will close at 2300 hours. This, by comparison, is significantly less than the previous occupiers. Now, I say previous because there's also a further representation here that's important. The objection that we are facing today is contained in a letter form at page 43 of the bundle, and it's from Miss Lau, which I've already covered that point, and Councillor Ahmed, you've already indicated that you've read my email of Friday, and I think everyone has read that email. I briefly summarized the points for today's purposes. The objection relates to, as I've outlined in my email, it relates to complaints regarding the previous occupiers. Now, that has been highlighted, and I've dealt with that point for Ms. Lau's information. I've dealt with that point by saying my client has listened to those concerns, and while this was the previous occupiers, my client has come forward to suggest, look, I'm here to help. I'm here to make sure that we all get along. Now, these are very difficult times, COVID-19 restrictions. Businesses are suffering immensely, and the government is doing its best to help businesses survive. Now, that's having said that, my client is also aware of concerns locally, and for that reason, my client, like my client did with the police, my client tried to approach Miss Lau to suggest, look, we're going to be here and we want to help. So what are your concerns?
Sorry, am I allowed to speak up now?
Not at the moment, because I haven't finished. I haven't
Okay.
quite finished. So yes,
Okay,
I mean,
thank you.
okay. Now, those complaints, as referred to at page 43, Miss Lau's letter complains about. I would like to briefly summarize those concerns. One is about noise and customers leaving late at night. There is also the shutter of the premises, which causes some noise and disturbance, and also loitering outside the premises late night again. But there's no reference to any complaint prior to midnight. It says in the letter, at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, the staff of the previous business owners would leave making noise. That is not customers, that's staff. I have to underline that fact because there's no loitering of customers referred to at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, my client addressed these concerns reasonably to suggest that, first of all, he's got, now due to COVID-19 restrictions, again, given the lockdown, my client couldn't get his shutter company to install the shutters because the company is not operating at the moment. However, fingers crossed that things will get back to some normality in the next few days, which will be announced, hopefully, and this shutter will be installed soon. When I say soon, I'm talking a matter of days and not weeks. Now, this shutter will have a motorized silencer on the motor of the shutter, so there will be no noise coming from the shutter at all. In terms of the loitering outside, Again, this is not a complaint made against my client. This is a complaint made against the previous owner. So I don't necessarily want to talk about that too much, other than to say my client has offered a good, effective management to Miss Lau to say, well, thank you for your concerns. We will put this in our issues to resolve when we are running the premises and the business. So staff will be careful and vigilant in and around the premises. And there will be signs displayed everywhere, but particularly on the way out, reminding customers to leave the premises quietly and to go to their next destination rather than sticking around. And this has been seen to be managed perfectly with many premises where staff at the door say, please leave quietly, thank you for your custom, see you again. And they are seen off. Now, in terms of loitering outside, at the moment, the whole country is going through unorthodox, unprecedented times with how businesses are managing. I'm personally seeing Uber Deliveroo drivers picking up takeaway from outside premises. This is the only way in which some businesses can function. When life gets back to normality, hopefully, customers will be able to come in. However, Uber Deliveroo seems to have actually done really well in terms of during these times of crisis, and customers will be ordering through Uber and delivery moving forward. So there won't be much in our predictions, much takeaway activity. These are, and Councillor Ahmed, you've also referred to having seen plans of the premises. Two plans. If I refer to the ground floor plan, which is the layout of the premises, this is not a takeaway premises. These are primarily restaurant. It's seating, and there isn't a huge takeaway coverage here. And so customers will be inside the premises. And so therefore, from the plan, it's very clear that this is not going to cause any queues, congregation outside the premises. Furthermore, I'd like to briefly refer to the terms and, well, conditions agreed with the police, whereby there is a condition. I'll try and find the exact number of the provision there, but it basically says customers will only have alcohol with food. And this is a significant point, because these are not premises like that will function like a bar or a pub, and which there's nothing wrong with that, but we are not a pub or a wine bar as such. This is a Mediterranean restaurant. And so therefore, alcohol will only be served alongside food. And moving on, my submissions are simply to state that the objection that comes from Miss Lau is noted. We can only note what Miss Lau says. We can only try and help her, but none of the complaints that she's made are directed at us, and we're not offended by it in any shape or form. We take it, we welcome her suggestions, and on behalf of my client, with whom I've spoken to, and I have heard him say repeatedly that he will make sure that the shutter is installed with the motorized silencer, and his staff will leave the premises quietly, unlike, not that his staff have ever left making noise, because like I said, Miss Lau's complaints are nothing against us, but his staff will be reminded that previous owners have done this to Miss Lau or the residents upstairs for them to have some cause for concern. So we will make sure that our premises are managed effectively in that sense. In summary, Miss Lau's concerns are noted. They will be addressed effectively, and the premises will be managed properly. Now, in my email also, I've mentioned that my client has over 25 years of experience. He's managed various businesses, and I, as his solicitor, have witnessed that. I have seen him manage other premises. He has not once fallen foul of any rules or regulations with any local authority, and this is not the first local authority he's running a business in. He is a respectable, reasonable business proprietor, and so therefore this will be, I hope, noted in his favour. And if there are any questions other than that, I'm happy to address them. Over to you.
Okay, thanks for that. Has your client got anything to add at this stage or not?
Mr. Jana, do you wish to add anything at this point? And if you want to unmute your speaker, if you want to say something.
If not, then it's
Thank you very much, Mr. Morgan. Actually, whatever you say, your consideration, clearly you did explain. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Now I am going, yeah, you can mute your mic. Now I'm going to ask the objector if Ms. Lowe has got any question at this stage. Only a question. You will be given opportunity to present your case, but if you have any question, you can ask at this stage, Ms. Lowe.
I don't have any questions. I like to put my objection, later.
Thank you. My colleagues, Councillor Manro, do you have any question at this stage?
No, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Kumar?
No, I'm okay at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, in that case, we move on to the objector's presentation. Ms. Lau, over to you now.
Okay, thank you, Chancellor. Hi. Yeah, it's Kawan here. I just want to say, I know I'm the only objector here for this case, but as I mentioned earlier, I am one of the directors, one of the 4 directors for Cooper's Court Freehold, who is managed by LBM, the London Block Management Team. So I have feedback from the other 3 directors as well regarding, sort of noise nuisance, sort of antisocial behaviour around Cooper's Court area. I'm not sure how much familiar you are with this development, but it's a private development with a courtyard and 77 flats. And some of the apartments are on top of businesses, and one of them are the new sort of Woody Grill, the old Kayra Mediterranean restaurant. So I would just like to mention, I mean, I've got some notes here. This is not what usually this is the first time I've been to one of these, so I'm not familiar with the whole process, so bear with me. So just to give you an idea, my apartment is directly above the restaurant, which has 2 bedrooms, which is facing the actual exit of the restaurant. So there's a main entrance and my 2-bedroom is above that. So there's about 4 flats, which is above the restaurant, I believe. So as Olga mentioned, these are all the feedback that, comments that are made from with the issues we have with Woody. And also, I'm not sure when this work started with the renovation downstairs with the new restaurant, because I believe it's been closed for many months since lockdown. So we still hear shutters. So I'm not sure when the works were carried out now in the underground, in the shop restaurant. But we do have, in terms of noise, I have made many complaints to the actual previous owner and also Ealing Council regarding noise nuisance, and reported them with regards to customers actually being outside, loitering, waiting for cabs. And in the summer, when it's hot in the restaurant, they actually open the French windows and have all the doors and the windows open, and the noises are traveling up to the flats above. So I have made lots of, like literally every quarter, I have to go down and speak to the management and the owner of Woody. and to mention them to keep the doors, windows closed. I have complained and gave them the reference number of the Eden Council, you know, that sort of thing. And also with the closing time, you mentioned that it is shorter now than before, but the licensing time is the same, you know, midnight. So what I'm worried about is with COVID, a lot of the pubs on the high streets are closing. I think we have about 8 pubs on the high street, which is, you know, 100 meters around sort of thing. And what I'm worried is sort of with a lot of the pubs not reopening and with the late licensing, I know that, you know, you have to serve food and everything in the new restaurant, but it's going to congregate into that restaurant with a lot of the pubs closing at 10, 11, and it's going to be a later license, and we're going to have the issue of, you know, closing later again, that sort of situation. I did mention earlier about sort of the shutters, which thank you for, you know, working on new shutters, because that is quite very disturbing, especially like 1 or 2 in the morning when we're sleeping at 10 and then getting woken up at 1 or 2, or early in the morning at 6, 7 when staff comes in and open for delivery of alcohol or whatever at different times and the shutters comes down sort of stuff. And I mean, we have CCTV in the premises as well. In Cooper's Court, we actually installed that last year. And what we found is that it's not very useful in terms of getting antisocial behaviors like people trespassing into the private courtyard. We have a lot of people drinking, using the courtyards as a drinking den, taking drugs and everything. So that's, you know, I'm not saying that's going to be affected by the new restaurants, but we have CCTV on there, and, you know, we, you know, contacted the police, showed footage and everything. And, you know, it's been in place for a year and it hasn't really improved for the past 18 months that we had installed as well. We have a lot of theft in the car park and everything from, you know, people coming from the high street back in winter months and stuff as well. In the summer, people like to loiter around. So these are the things that we, as a director, we have to sort of like come across, and the thought of the fact that, you know, a late license and being later and people actually hanging around in the summer as well, people drinking. We had issue like people drinking on the pavement around the Woody. I can only talk about Woody, and that's my concern. Like, you know, it's a matter of like, okay, you have to eat inside, but then they have a drink, have a cigarette, and you literally, you know, have people, you know, the windows, the bedroom, lounge and everything is above of, you know, the development. And that's my concern, is because, yeah, it's right next to it. And also a lot of the pubs and restaurants are closing, and it's going to be a lot of congregation around that sort of area. My concern was, and the late nights on the high street waiting for the Uber, the cab, and drinking in the summer, which we have a lot of issue as well in the summer with just customers. You know, I'm not saying the new owner's going to be like that, but letting the customers outside drinking with, you know, whatever. And we have to, you know, I mean, I haven't got that sort of like the numbers, like the number of times I have called Eden Council about this late in 1, 2 in the morning, but they can't do anything until the next day or the next few weeks, and I have to call again, sort of thing. So, you know, what is the strategy in terms of having the CCTV? Do you know, do we go to the police and say, record it certain times, and then, you know, it goes to the owner? I mean, I'm not very familiar with this sort of process. What is that going to help? You know, is it going to be directly, we're going to call the police and there's like CCTV and they can move on the people, you know, that sort of thing? Because obviously we need to sleep. And I can't keep on sort of like, yeah, every, you know, couple of weeks to actually call up again. I mean, it's been slow, it's quiet, because Woody's been closed for like, I think a few months now, a number of months. So, yeah. I mean, that's okay. My sort of case, really. And I also like to mention that the owner did call me about, I think on the 6th of November. I wasn't expecting a call. So I did want, like, he just literally go, I'll be in the restaurant in 30 minutes. Would you like to come down and talk? And I said, no, because it's lockdown. It's the 5th, you know, I'm not supposed to go down sort of and meet other people. So I couldn't speak very well on the phone, and I wasn't prepared to speak. It was just out of the blue. And I said, can you just like let me know when the next time we can call or arrange a Zoom meeting. We can go through the things, my concerns and everything. And I felt quite sort of unwelcome, sort of like call. I think I was feeling sort of like quite threatened because it was out of the blue and, you know, sort of thing. And I just went, I'll just repeat the stuff that I had on Woody, the shutters, and about customers loitering in the summer and, you know, outside waiting for taxis and closing times and stuff. And, you know, the owner mentioned about the other things that I said, oh, can we organize something, you know, like on a Zoom call or something? He goes, oh, no, we can just go to court then if that's the case. So I was quite sort of like, it was quite abrupt as well. And I wasn't expecting that. And I thought it'd be sort of something more sort of like, you know, arrange on email, a call, not just like calling and say I'll be down there in 30 minutes. So that wasn't very efficient way of dealing with things. And that's what I'm worried about as well. In like, I had so much bad experience with the last owner and the last manager who doesn't really want to resolve the problems. Like, you know, they didn't change the shutters, they didn't change the customers sitting outside, leaving windows open. And I just felt like I didn't have, you know, the owners wasn't listening. I'm talking about Woody here. The owners and the managers wasn't listening. And I felt the first call I had with, you know, that chat, it wasn't very well organized. It wasn't managed well. And we didn't have the time for me to put my case across or have, you know, it was literally a call and say, I'm downstairs in 30 minutes. Can you come down during lockdown? So I just felt like, you know, it's going to be all over again with like Woody, like that number of years, not listening and not solving the problems.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, that's my fault, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Before I ask the panel members or the applicant to ask any question, I would like to clarify that if the applicant or their solicitor calls you, this is a normal procedure, and they usually try to resolve any issue that objector has. So this is a normal process. But if you were obviously, you felt uncomfortable, it's fine, you can decline it, but that is a normal process. Mm-hmm. So before I ask my colleagues to ask a question, I'm asking the applicant, Mr. Olgan, do you have any question? Only question.
Councillor Ahmed, yes, I do. In fact, just a few clarification questions. Ms. Lau mentioned seating outside. Are we aware that there is no seating outside?
I didn't say there's no seating outside. I'm saying there's lots of big windows. If you look at the plan, there's all windows and it's all open. Okay. And people are taking their alcohol outside.
Okay, no, that's absolutely fine. I just wanted to clarify that. And also, another question. I'm just making notes so that I'm treating this as a bit of a forum so we can resolve these issues for better management in the future. And so I don't intend to drag on, but just for clarification again, you said you're not very familiar with CCTV and how this will help your ancillary local drug-related problems. My client has extensive high-tech CCTV installed at the premises. He's offering helping in that sense.
If you've got any question to ask, then you will be given an opportunity to sum up. So if you have anything to say, you can do that.
I do. Okay. Have you seen the new premises inside the premises?
No. Okay. It's still boarded up. Yes.
Okay.
It's all boarded. All right. You can't see through the windows or anything. I just know that there's work's done downstairs because there's drilling and everything from 8.
And okay. And you mentioned earlier that pubs are closing down. Are you aware of any that have closed down, apart from COVID-19 lockdown? Because at the moment they're all closed.
Well, I've seen it. Okay,
when you say they're closing down, do you mean lockdown closures, COVID-19 restrictions, or do you mean something else?
So I've seen about 3 pubs around, even with the restriction before September, October, it's boarded up. It seems like it's closed down, about 3 in the on the high street. I think there's one called the Bell, and then there's one opposite near Morrison. Well, you probably don't know the area, but I think about 3 of them are boarded up. So I don't think they're going to reopen on the 2nd.
Okay, all right, thank you. And also, just one final question. You said there are 4 residents upstairs, 4 of you. There are 4 flats upstairs.
Directly above, but some of the flats are 3 floors, so you still can hear it 3 floors. I'm talking about this. So if you look at the plan, there's about 3 flats directly above the restaurant, and then there's 2nd floor, 3rd floor. So there's, you know, you repeat times 3 by that. Yeah.
Okay, and sorry, you mentioned that you're a director in the freehold management company.
Freehold, one of the not the management agents. No. I'm one of the owners of the flat. So, you know, as a freehold, you have the directors to manage the management agent.
How many directors are there in total?
4.
4, okay. And are they aware of this application?
Yes.
Okay.
I mentioned to them that I'd be on this call on the 24th, and I will relay back to them. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Councillor Mann, do you have any question?
Yeah, I do. Just a couple. Ms. Lau, when did you move into your property?
I bought the property in 2006.
And was Woody's there when you moved in?
No, it was, I think it was a buffet, a sort of a Asian buffet restaurant.
But do you recognize you were buying a town, you know, town center location? You were buying a property which was right in the middle of a town center?
Yes, I am, yes. On top of, like, there's a bookshop next door, there's a healthcare thing next door, there's the art gallery downstairs, yes. Okay. And I know the one in the corner is a sort of a restaurant sort of thing. Mm-hmm.
And have you had issues since 2006?
Only with Woody.
But you said Woody wasn't there.
Oh no, yeah, no. So before that, when I moved in, there was a sort of Asian sort of restaurant sort of thing, and then Woody was in play after that restaurant went, and then now it's the Kayra. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's been changes like twice. Yes, twice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is the 3rd.
Okay, that's all I needed to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, the other issue was, are you aware that there's a condition on this license that no alcohol can be taken outside in open containers?
Yes, it's the same as with lots of restaurants where they have conditions like that. People still do that, and it's the management who doesn't really police it very well.
You are aware that that's a breach of their conditions and they could risk losing their license. So if you were to report that,
I have to them all the, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go through Woody. I mean, as I said, I speak to them every quarter, sort of, in the past. But as again, like Woody was only there for about 3 years. I'm not sure how many years. So it was, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Councillor Kumar, do you have any question?
Yes, I do, and I had raised my hand previously. The question I had, Ms. Liu, is the CCTV you mentioned. Is it your CCTV, or are you talking about the CCTV that existed when Woody's was in operation? I just need clarification on that bit about the CCTV. You said it wasn't effective. So is it Cooper's Court where you live? Does the CCTV belong to them, or is it the CCTV of the previous restaurant that you're talking about?
Ms. Lowe, can you hear?
Sorry, I'm muted, sorry. The CCTV I just mentioned earlier is Cooper's Court. So it's only inside the premises, the courtyard, with all the 5 blocks of flats, and also on the entrances with the car park and the pedestrian gates and any entrances. So we don't actually have any CCTV actually on the restaurant itself. That is on the main road, so we don't have any CCTV there. It's just within the development and outside where, you know, the entrances, the car park and that sort of thing, where people come in.
So it's basically the Cooper's Court CCTV and activities that take place in that
Yeah,
forecourt. Is that
in the
correct?
yes, yeah, and directly
It's not
outside. Mhm.
okay, and it's not meant. It's meant to cover people coming into Cooper's Court and going out, and not associated with the restaurant next door.
No,
Am
we
I
don't have
correct?
any. We don't have any CCTV pointed at any of the
Oh.
the businesses.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Lau, now we are moving to our final stage. So you have an opportunity to sum up your presentation, and then I will be asking the applicant to sum it up, and then we will move on toward retiring and making a decision. So you've got a few minutes to sum up your presentation now, to give any closing remarks.
Thank you. So just so just to sum it up, I mean, so I would like just to make a representation with like part of Cooper's Court, some of the residents and the directors as well, about our concerns with antisocial behaviour with the new licensing for the new restaurants, with regards to previous experience we had with Woody, as I mentioned, not previously with the other businesses that's in place. I mean, it'd be great if we have some, I mean, you mentioned like CCTV that would help with managing antisocial behavior and getting the police in and actually monitor it on a regular basis, and can actually help with loitering and sort of antisocial behaviors outside on the main street where it affects the residents who live above the actual businesses and the restaurants as well, because what we haven't seen in the past, it didn't really help, and we did have to make representation to Eden Council and also with the management agent about the situations as well, and also regularly, nearly almost every quarter, to the owners and the management of the previous business to discuss about this, and to no avail. So that's my concern, and I would like to, you know, to put it across to the board, I mean the team here.
Thank you for that. Thank you. You can mute your mic now.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you.
Olgan.
Thank you.
Mr. Olgan, you can now sum the presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Well, in summary, without rehearsing the application itself, in summary, I think we have an application here by a willing applicant to assist his neighbour upstairs. We have an application that has gone through the police, and we have conditions that are very onerous in the sense of helping resolve these issues. As Councillor Manro pointed out, if my client, the applicant, commits any breach, this entitles any interested party to request a review, and a breach will revoke or suspend the license. We hope we don't come to that, because we have a willing applicant here to assist and to make sure that all his terms and conditions in the license are honoured. In terms of CCTV, my client has gone through, has not shied from the expense of installing high-tech CCTV, 31 days, which will be made available to all local authority departments and the police to assist again in dealing with these antisocial and public safety issues. As the license conditions also state, there is no drinking outside the premises. This is not a pub, this is not a bar, and the customers will only have modest drinking. This is not a drinking establishment as we refer to pubs and wine, so wine bars. So in that sense, because of the nature of the premises, that is significantly different from Woody's. Woody's has caused problems which we're not going to repeat. We're different, not just by virtue of change of ownership, but by practice, in the sense that this is now more of a restaurant. And therefore, the loitering point also is not going to be repeated by my client, because it's not takeaway primarily. it's primarily a restaurant. In my closing submission, I would simply ask for good communication, as my client has indicated, has demonstrated, and as Councillor Ahmed also pointed out, the endeavour was to try and resolve these issues, Ms. Lau, not necessarily to cause any other concerns. But I would suggest, first of all, in my submission, that this application be allowed, and secondly, the willing applicant's endeavours to communicate with his neighbours upstairs shall continue. And I've asked a question earlier to Ms. Lau to suggest, to ask whether she's seen the premises. I suggest she does visit when the lockdown is over, not now, but she does visit and she does communicate and try and resolve these issues, because I think they can help each other deal with the ancillary concerns for the wider community. In my submission, the application is a reasonable application. The hours are significantly less than the previous premises license. The operational basis of the business is a restaurant, not a takeaway as such. And with the totality of the conditions as gone through by the police, I would invite the committee to approve the application. These are my submissions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, before we retire, we've got the committee has seen the hours that are requested and that are, well, the hours agreed with the police. So I don't need to repeat that for my colleagues. You know what the hours and conditions were agreed with the police. Now, before we retire, our legal advisor, Alison, is there any procedural issue that has been missed, or we are ready to retire now?
No, I think that covers everything, Chair. So yes, I think the panel can now retire.
Okay, so I think the applicant and their representatives can wait in the same room, and we will retire. We should be back within half an hour. If we can't, we will send a message, but hopefully we will be able to get back within the half an hour. So I think it would be wise to wait here, and my colleagues and my team, we can retire now.
Okay.
And I'll see you on the